And for those of you who've just joined us, this is the 136th Security Thought Leadership webinar. 136 times we've held a Security Thought Leadership webinar, and each of those has involved panelists discussing some topic of importance to the security world. And the idea of thought leadership is what we're trying to do is critique today so that we get more thinking about a better type of security tomorrow. And today is a very special webinar because as soon as it's finished, we will be presenting the Kenya OSPAs Awards. We'll be inviting two of our Kenya experts to help us announce and present the awards. As you know, the physical awards are going to be given out at Security Expo in October. The idea today is to virtually tell the world who they are. And all over the world, there are people waiting to find out. But you've got to wait 45 minutes because first, we have a webinar, a thought leadership webinar. And today the topic is this: thinking about outstanding security in Kenya. What are the barriers to making further improvements? Now, as you all know, if you're a regular attendee, we regularly do webinars about a different part of the world. We've done them all over Asia and South America and Europe and Africa. But today is a focus on Kenya. And what we're going to try and think through is, of course, there's been a transformation period when we've had COVID. But thinking about those who are outstanding, which we like to do on the day of the OSPAs, what are the barriers to getting even better? What are the things we need to think about? Well, to help me with this, I've once again got three panelists who I'm very much looking forward in a second to introducing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to invite each of them to first of all introduce themselves, and once they've each done that, I'll then come back to them and ask them each for their opening comments. For 3 minutes, when they get to say whatever they want to say about this topic. And I'm really looking forward to what they've got to say, because I, for certain, don't know enough about Kenya. And I know people are going to be listening to this. Many people after today to find out what's going on. So let's first of all meet our panelists. And let me first of all go to Augustine. Augustine, hello, and can you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Martin. My name is Augustine Lokwang. I am the Secretary General of a security association called ACSMP. It's an organization that is bringing together security professionals across Kenya from diverse sectors and subscribing to the principles of good practice and professionalism in the private security sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And of course, very, very good, relevant experience for today. So let's go from Augustine over to Purity. Purity, do please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Martin. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us from. Good evening. My name is Purity Kinanu. I am a certified protection professional, and I also have academically, I'm in strategic management and HR. And for that, I am also a certified professional trainer. I have been working in an international security company for the last 14 years. I've learned a lot, gained a lot of experience on people management in security sector, corporate security in general, because I've been developing talent and security solutions in that organization for different enterprises that cut across different sectors. I am also a founder of a company called Paricop International that delivers and develops tailor-made security and talent solutions for small and medium enterprises across this region. I am very passionate about professional development, and at that, I am the Vice Chair of Women in Safety Excellence. Women in Safety Excellence, short known as WISE, is a professional association for women in safety and security spaces here in Kenya. I'm also a governing council member for ASIS, Women in Security Kenya chapter. And I've had the privilege really to participate in this year's OSPAs, and I thank you, Martin, and your team for what you're doing in recognizing outstanding performance in this sector.
Thank you.
I look forward to the webinar, and I really look forward to seeing the winners of this year's OSPAs. Thank you, Martin.
Purity, thank you very much indeed. I've got to say, Purity, we've had literally hundreds of panelists over the last 18 months on this, but none of them have got a wonderful name like yours. Purity, what a wonderful name. Okay, let's finally go to meet Charles. Now, Charles has actually been here before, so I'm delighted to welcome back. Charles, welcome back. Please just introduce yourself to the audience.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, listeners and viewers, wherever you are. And thanks, Professor Martin, for putting this thought leadership together and bringing participants from all over the world to share their experience. My name is Charles Solo. I am a certified protection professional. I am a director of a company called Baton Consortium Limited. We focus in loss prevention and risk management, and we offer solutions around safety and security. And I'm glad to be here and to share my experience with the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, they're our panelists, experts, as you can tell, in different parts of security. Very much looking forward to this. Just to say to the audience, please do exchange views on the chat button, as you're already doing at the bottom of your screen. But if you've got a question for the audience, please use the question and answer, the Q&A button. And once everyone's done their opening statements, I'll endeavour to incorporate your question in the following discussion. Try and get your questions in early, because this webinar moves very fast. So without further ado then, let's go back to Augustine. And Augustine, we're going to ask you 3 minutes for your thoughts on the topic of today, the state of Kenya security and barriers to improving. Augustine, over to you.
Good, thank you very much. I think I want to first begin by saying the current security situation and the context of the pandemic we are in is such that we have not made significant progress towards the professionalization and the mainstreaming of the security, private security sector in Kenya. And this is in light of the following factors. One is the pandemic itself and the opportunities to bring sector stakeholders together as previously intended by the security regulator to have conversations on how together we can be able to develop and professionalize the sector. If you look at the directives and COVID-19 containment measures, much of these measures have affected the manner in which the sector stakeholders can interact. Secondly, the issue of capacity of the stakeholders, especially the private sector stakeholders, towards working with the regulator and the other sector, particularly the demand side of security and safety. I think the commitment to build capacity, to commit to move towards expectations such as ISO certification and of security and safety solutions within certain standards, I think this is a barrier.
Augustine, we've lost you. Augustine, just
that is and private individuals in consulting roles have not necessarily come into the sector to provide quality services, but rather to be able to make profits. I think that's a barrier in itself. Of course, the nature and the changing dynamic crime context. I think in the pandemic now, crime has really changed a lot as more and more opportunities for crime have come up, and those who want to indulge in crime have actually increased in the numbers. If you follow the local media news and conversation about crime in the country, I think the opposition and the weaknesses of not being able to operate as before because of controls that has now affected the manner in which cooperation of stakeholders towards making Kenya safer and secure is increasingly becoming difficult. Of course, the roadmap the roadmap to regulate the sector, the role of the government, the role of the private security stakeholders. I think we are disrupted, to say the least, because you are aware that the Private Security Regulatory Authority was running the process of registration of security companies. I would say not much has been achieved. If you consult the Private Security Regulatory Authority, a handful of companies have been registered, and therefore the efforts towards organizing the sector from a regulatory perspective has been affected by this pandemic. Lastly, the issue of uptake of technology and still remaining traditional in providing private security services. I think this is an area we are not yet making progress, because the pandemic is here. The opportunity of taking up technology to be able to, in more innovative ways, provide security services. I think most of the security providers are still stuck in the traditional approach to provision of security. So these are barriers that are really affecting the process and the commitment of both the public and private sector to be able to provide security of the country to the heights that we desire. Thank you.
Thank you, Augustine. Really, really appreciate those comments. Very, very helpful. Can I just say to the audience, remind them, please use the question and answer button at the bottom of your screen. Get your questions in to any of the panelists as soon as you can, and we'll endeavour to incorporate it in the discussion. Without further ado then, let's go over to our second panelist, Purity. And Purity, can we have your opening statement, please? 3 minutes from you on what you think about this topic.
Thank you, Martin. I'll start by saying that the security sector has really demonstrated a lot of resilience in this era of COVID-19. And everyone appreciates, generally there's a general appreciation that security is a need and we cannot wish it away. Security solutions are also a requirement in the country, which cannot be wished away. In the beginning, no one knew how it was going to turn out. We didn't know how security companies were going to work in the space, wherever they do, how they were going to deliver their services based on the challenges of COVID-19. They have remained resilient. Those ones who are on the front line providing manned security or manned guarding, those who carry money, those who carry valuable assets and all that. However, they have, of course, done all this amidst a number of challenges because of what is happening. Some of the challenges I could think of include things to do with cost. We are operating in an environment where customers that the security sector is serving are also facing a lot of challenges due to COVID-19. They have had to scale down their operations. Some of the operations have sort of gone slow. We had a time when learning institutions were not operating. We've had the hospitality industry heavily affected. And therefore, if anyone was offering security services to any of those institutions and many others, small enterprises, what would happen is, they've scaled down their operations, and therefore they will scale down their need for security, especially in areas where they are, you're providing individuals in terms of manned security. When it comes to movement of cash and movement of valuable assets, money has moved to moving, using technology. Fintech is what most organizations are using now. So that kind of business, anyone who was doing that business has had to, has been affected. Some of them have had to reduce the number of people that were offering that business, that kind of services. The other area is, of course, reskilling and upskilling of the workforces. You realize that many organizations were used to in-person kind of training. So in this kind of era where, meeting in person is a challenge, organizations have had to, either invest in technology, and those that were not able to invest in technology, then, reskilling and upskilling or training of their people becomes a huge challenge. We have instances where you have to meet these people maybe on a day-to-day basis. That becomes also a challenge when it comes to the level of, performance levels that we are talking about. The other area of challenge I would think about is, security companies or security providers being able to align themselves to deliver the needs that are expected at the moment. You realize a number of people are working from home. And if they are working from home, they have reduced, organizations have reduced, working from physical offices and invested more in working from virtual offices. That means then crime has moved also online. So the question is, have security companies also aligned themselves, skilled and upskilled their people, invested in a way that they are able to mitigate this kind of cyber crime, for example? We have also crime that has moved to our residentials, domestic violence and such things. How is security positioning itself to be able to address some of those issues? So those are some of the challenges I would think about. And of course, being among the front line and being categorized as essential providers or providers of essential services. Another challenge would be, having all our employees already vaccinated so that, we do not lose any employees as the variant continues to change from one level to the other. So that would be a concern, and it is a concern for most employers in terms of having, availability of enough vaccines and on time so that their employees can be vaccinated.
Beauty, thank you very much indeed. Fascinating things. As questions I'd like to ask right now to you, Augustine. But first, we're going to get our final panelist to give us an opening statement. Just to remind the audience, don't forget question and answer button at the bottom of your screen, and we'll put your questions to the panelists as soon as we've heard from Charles. Charles, welcome again, and very much looking forward to what you've got to say on this. Your opening statement, please, Charles.
Thanks, Martin. The diverse nature of security itself is a challenge, and it actually creates a number of areas that needs to be looked into. And having said that, security does not exist in a vacuum. It actually is a determinant of people and activity. And in as much as these activities are varied, in as much as these people's threats and risks are varied, security will always remain a vital element, and it will always have its own dynamic. Now, in terms of the barriers of improving security, and especially in the country, we are looking at some of the dynamics of threats that are emerging, because you find that there are those traditional threats or traditional risks that actually exist, but there are also those emerging threats. Like, for example, we see the most recent and the current one, which is the pandemic, which has actually tried to reset everything to default, and every organization, it's like we are starting again to learn, we are starting to put measures in place, we are starting to actually do things, in a way that would respond to our challenges. If you look at the risk and you look at the threats, you're talking about terrorism, you're talking about juvenile gangs, you're talking about the uptake of technology by youth, which again is an area whereby it's becoming a bit more volatile for security operatives, both state security and private security, and is an area that is actually bringing a lot of challenges in terms of professionalizing security in the country. Now, what are some of the barriers that are actually hindering this? You see, as my other colleagues have said, it's an area whereby we are actually seeing new entrants into the market each and every day. And with this new entrant into the market, there requires a proper mechanism and measures to be able to regulate and control how they actually operate. And that one requires a strong mechanisms and a regulatory authority to be able to ensure that both the existing and the new entrants in the market operate within certain parameters and are able to be controlled in terms of what they do. Because Why do we have security? We have security because there are consumers of security outside there. And these consumers must be protected in terms of what they're taking, in terms of how they're actually being, solution is being provided to them. So regulatory framework is very key in terms of professionalizing security. Another area that requires a bit of a look in terms of professionalism is the effect of partnership. We have challenges that are cut across the country. We have challenges that affect private citizens. We have challenges that affect state as a whole. So between and every security operative, every security organ operates towards ensuring that those challenges are mitigated and are prevented. And we have a fragmented private security, which actually should be operating in tandem with the state security. So partnership between the private security and private security and state security and the key security operatives is something that needs to actually be looked into in terms of how are they relating, what activities do they conduct together, how is the sharing of information, how is the sharing of activities, how do they share intelligence, how do they respond to the challenges that are coming up, so that each and every facet of security operates towards the common goal. Another barrier is actually the uptake of technology, and I've said technology is is now a tool. Before pandemic, technology was like a preserve of the few. But with the pandemic, technology being aware of communication, being aware of meeting, every single person is now appreciating technology. Now, within that technological platform, a number of things can happen. For example, you can start a revolution through technology. You can actually, organize a lot of negative activities through technology. So the use and the control of how citizens use and apply technology requires to be something that needs to be regulated and controlled by the mechanisms that are there, so that we do not fall a victim like we've seen in other countries. Just the other day we had Capitol demonstration in the US, whereby it was actually a matter of spreading propaganda and rumors, and everything just blow out of proportion. Another area that seems to be a barrier is the empowerment and the capacity building of the people who are charged with offering security solutions. We are talking about state security, and we look at the many issues that are coming within the state security, the national police, and they're not things that are out of the blue, but they are things that can be managed in a way, if at all there's actually better mechanisms and proper approach towards them. Now, we talk about private security. Our private security organs well empowered and equipped to be able to respond to some of the challenges that they are facing on the ground, because if something happens, it's these private security operatives are the people who are going to meet these challenges first. So in terms of empowering them, in terms of giving them opportunity, in terms of giving them, a capability to be able to respond, to be able to communicate, to be able to mitigate the challenges that are coming on the ground, and to be able to coordinate with the state security for a better approach. Those are few barriers that can actually be, that I can point, that requires to be addressed in order to professionalize security in the country.
Charles, thank you very much indeed. And three excellent open statements, and already the questions are flowing in. So without further ado, I'm going to put them to you, the panelists. And I'm going to start off with you, if I might, Augustine. And a question from Matthew Porcelli. Now, for you to know, you might not know, Matthew is quite a big character in the United States in terms of thought leadership. He's been on a previous webinar, and he's been quite pioneering with young professionals. And his question is there an increase in interest from young professionals in the US, he says the security sector is somewhere in the middle in terms of interest. Amongst young people, which of course is the future of the security sector, what's the interest in Kenya? If I could ask for a fairly brief answer, if you wouldn't mind, because I'd like to move to lots of other questions as well. Augustine, you first.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's important to start first by giving the context of the security in the larger society of Kenya. I mean, the traditional feeling is that security is but the last profession anyone wants to join in the country.
Goodness.
The reason being, it's been provided as such for people who have not made it in school in terms of progressing from high school to university because of probably poor performance. And in that regard, then it's not an attractive field for young people to really want. It's just a place to go in when all the options have run out. And this is a context we want to change and turn around as professionals and security associations in Kenya, raising the debates and profiling security and safety as a field or profession that anyone else should be able to join. But there is quite a lot to be done in terms of the investments that the private sector itself will have to make for that to be achieved, the investments that the government itself has to put in so that we are able to leverage on those investments to increase interest, especially for those who are coming into this sector to build a career, but not just because it is a sector to make a living out of. So I agree. We have a lot to work on, and all the stakeholders, government, private sector, are required to have conversations and continue towards building a roadmap that makes security and a good field to really join. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to get you on this as well, Purity, because you're involved in the training side. And I just want to, first of all, do you agree with Augustine? It's just about the option you go to when you've exhausted anything else. And if so, what will change it? And after Purity, I'd like to come to Charles and move on to a different subject. But on this Purity, what would you say?
Thank you, Martin. Yes, of course, that is what it has been traditionally, that this is a career for those who did not make it those who have no other option in terms of employment or, business. However, that is changing and that needs to change. We have quite a lot to do to be able to change. We are seeing a lot of people who have been traditionally in security who did not have any skills now endeavoring to make sure that they acquire skills. That is happening both in the private and in the public. A lot more people are investing themselves in professional courses in security. However, in the in colleges, in schools where we need to get the young people interested in the career, we need to do much more. We need to collaborate more as employers in the private sector. We need to collaborate more right now with the regulator. Now that there's a regulator, we need to collaborate more with the government and be able to find a framework within which we can be able to reach out and work, partner with the learning institutions so that we can speak and deliver trainings or package trainings that are more friendly to the young people so that they don't think security is just, sort of for lack of a better word, a hardcore sort of career. We need to make it look more appealing to the young people so that they may see it as a career where they can join from their young age and be able to grow within the career. Of course, for that also to happen, we need representation of the young people in boards, in the boardrooms, in ExComs. We need the representation of these young people. So it is also a call for owners of these businesses and also for government to have young people in security represented in these kind of positions, given a seat in the boardroom so that they can be able to to showcase what security is as a career to the young ones, because you see, they will be able to speak the language that the young people will be able to align themselves to. So it is easier for a young person to speak to a young person, but also we need also mentorship programs to come on board, so that we can be able to hold hands of those young people who are coming out from schools. And we don't need to also, as organizations, employ people who have no skills at all, because that is where it starts going wrong. When we employ people who have no skills, then it becomes normal for security to be delivered by people who have no skills. Nothing stops us. Of course, we know and we understand investment in trainings is a huge challenge for most employers and even the government, because it requires money. Before you see return on investment for after training, it may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, but we don't have a choice. If we want the young people to really join the profession, we have to be deliberate about investment in training and development.
Purity, thank you very much indeed. Listen, we could go on that one. That is a fascinating topic, and you've provided some ideas there. Charles, I'd like to move on if I might, because we haven't got a lot of time, as you know, on these webinars, and we've got some really good questions in. And I'll tell you something, Charles, we've got a question now from one of our thought leadership members of the audience who regularly ask good questions. Iftikhar Razul, and I hope I've pronounced that again right, every time I announce your name, I say this, has got this question, Charles, for you, if I might. From what we gather from what you've all said, there's a feeling, he says, that changes has not taken place since the last webinar that we had on security. It seems that issues with the regulator, as well as security companies, is still the same. Charles, I wonder whether I could ask you to comment on this issue of regulation, because you've all mentioned it in different ways. Is it the case that regulation just isn't having the desired impact, Charles? And what is the solution to improving the regulatory impact? What's the problem here that needs to be solved? Charles, first, if I might.
Thanks, Martin. Yes, I can say that the issue of regulation or regulatory authority is still an issue that is pending in terms of its conclusion, and is an issue that is very, very pertinent to security practitioners and security professionals within the country. Now, there has been some activities around the regulation and regulatory authority in terms of trying to bring, order in security industry, and especially private security. Now, we need to understand that some of these things, and especially where government activities are involved, they take time, and they move in a very, very slow pace, not in the pace that you'd or rather private security or other private institutions run their affairs. So in terms of doing that, yes, I know and I can say that there are some activities that are going on within the regulatory framework, but they are not as fast as people would want to see, because until we see some kind of outcome from that activity is when most of the practitioners or operatives within security, private security, will actually say that yes, regulation is taking place. Now, if we compare with, modern democracies like Canada, like Australia, like South Africa, you can see that they've actually, even though they have regulations in place, but they went through a number of years in terms of putting that in place, putting everything right. And we expect ours also to actually move in that pace, even though we want outcomes very, very fast. Now, I know when we talk about regulation or regulatory authority, we have different views and different approaches to this. But in as much as they are trying to actually regulate what is already existing, within that existence, there are some issues and there are some parameters that have to be taken into and considered with a very, very deep thought, because then again, you don't want to do a regulation, put in regulation that is going to render half of the population jobless, or is going to render, half of the consumers without the vital solution, which is security. So yes, in terms of uptake for that particular parameter is not moving as fast as is expected. Now, what is the way forward? The way forward about the regulatory authority or regulation in Kenya is to keep engaging, and because these things will keep on improving each and every time. Threats are emerging, the dynamics, like when regulatory authorities started, activities of regulation, we didn't have COVID. COVID-19 came in and it threw every single activity off guard. So in as much as they are continuing, these emerging dynamics and challenges will keep on pushing them to the pedal. Now, it might appear, as for me, it might appear that nothing is moving, but that is because we are not open to actually monitor on a timely basis, on a daily basis, where are you, what are you doing, are you able to tell us where you are? But until that one happens, where the citizen, the professional, the practitioners will be able to know they are at this stage, they moved from this stage, and this is what is happening, we will still say that they are not doing much in terms of putting regulations in place.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to just ask you briefly to comment on this, Augustine. This issue of regulation, can you answer me this question? Very precisely, what's the problem that needs to be tackled here? Augustine.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think change is always met with some level of resistance. And the question of regulation in Kenya is one that just began with the Private Security Act coming in place, and then of course the establishment of the authority on the basis of the Private Security Act of 2016. There is a pull and push from the regulator side and the private security stakeholders. As we speak, there are court cases that are actually constituting a barrier for the regulator progressing to implement the Private Security Act. Nonetheless, there is some progress. Remember the issue of group dynamics, companies coming together under one banner, the name of associations, are engaging the regulator. But then again, private companies in their individual capacities are equally engaging the regulator. In this regard, I am pretty sure that there are quite a number of companies that have complied with the private security regulatory expectations, because these are preconditions for any access to opportunities, be it tendering and actually being in business. What needs to happen is an open, transparent dialogue between the regulator and the stakeholders of the industry. I think we all appreciate the importance of having this sector regulated and being managed in the context of standards. And this is for the good of the nation and ensuring that there is a more professional and more organized sector that will be able to support the public security sector. So in overall, we need the sector to be regulated, and therefore all stakeholders must cooperate. Conversation.
We've lost you, Augustine. We've lost you, but I think we got your point. So sorry, Augustine, we've lost you if you can still hear me, but thank you very much indeed for your point. We've only got 6 minutes left. So I'm going to ask one quick question to you, Purity, from Cicely Gatiti, I should say, about the personal stress to security personnel. I'm going to be really unfair, Purity, and say in 1 minute, because James Kanye has also asked a similar question, talking about the role of the security as victims. And I wonder, Purity, just very, very quickly for the world outside, is there a process of supporting security personnel who are themselves victims in different contexts? Very quickly, if you wouldn't mind, Purity.
Thank you for that question, Martin and Cicely. Yes, we have seen security personnel become, victims, and especially this time when people are quite isolated. We are a social society, and that is not happening a lot. And of course, the kind of work they do, immense pressure, the number of hours they work and all that. However, we continue to see different stakeholders in engaging their employees, engaging these security personnel. For example, we've seen the government come out strongly lately in terms of mental health awareness. They are putting it as an agenda for themselves. We have seen them open up a hospital that is addressing mental health. However, of course, looking at the population in Kenya and the population of those people that are in private security or state security, to be able to reach them, we need much more of that, across the country. We need also goodwill from employers themselves to be able to take it as an initiative, and be deliberate about standing for mental health awareness and supporting their employees, putting it as part of their learning programs, so that every employee is aware, because mental health can affect anybody, whether you are an MD, whether you are a frontline guard, whether you are a driver in security, mental health can affect anybody. Therefore, there is a lot that needs to be done. We are not yet there. We still have quite a lot to do. And of course, COVID has really, made it even more complicated right now, because this is coming when, for us to be able to do this, it requires money. This has not possibly been budgeted for. So everybody is trying to squeeze in this kind of extra expenditure within their budgets. So, but I think also in terms of associations that we have, this could also, they could do quite a bit in terms of reaching out through their members, speak about mental health, see what initiatives, they can come up with and be able to support as much as possible. So for me, I think there needs to be a lot of partnerships and stakeholder engagement between government, the employers, learning institutions. There's quite a lot that we need to put our heads together to be able to address.
Thank you very much indeed. We've got 3 minutes left. So what I'm going to do, panelists, I'm going to ask you a really difficult question and give you 20 seconds each to respond. Now, I do this often at the end of a webinar, and I'll tell you what's come to my mind. Gordon Knight has asked this question about, you've spoken about the security sector being fragmented, lots of different parts. It's quite complex, I think. I think you mentioned this, Charles, yourself. And this is happening around the world. And some people are arguing if security is really going to progress, it needs to speak more as a united voice. It needs to think together, work together, collaborate, and speak in a united way. We're running out of time. 20 seconds to address Gordon Knight's question. What is the best way of the security sector coming together to collaborate and work together? Let me come first to you, Augustine.
Yeah, as you already indicated, the need to unify efforts towards growing the sector, professionalizing it. I think this is where the crux of it really must matter. And in this case, just in the example of the various associations we have a number of associations which stand as though for the purpose of professionalizing the sector. But if you look into the interests, for example, there are associations that are pushing for the supply side of the sector, being able to come together and have the benefit of, getting the business in the sector. Secondly,
just 15 seconds, Augustine. It has to be quick because we're running out of time. 5 more seconds. Anything else you want to say?
So there is need to have a dialogue amongst the stakeholders themselves, particularly the association, so we can be able to have one front and push the agenda of getting the opportunities, but also professionalizing the sector.
Thank you very much, Augustine. Augustine, I'm going to stop you there because I want to get the others in. We're running out of time. Purity, can I just ask you 20 seconds? I know it's difficult. Headline thoughts. How do we get this united collaboration going? Key things we can do. Purity, 20 seconds, Purity.
Yes, I think one of the things we need to do is to be able to move from operating in silos and be able to work together, be able to bring our minds together, because if we have to engage, for example, the government, then we need to be able to engage the government as one. We need to be able to understand ourselves and understand the sector, where it is going, so that whatever it is we are talking about, then we are speaking in one voice. We also need to benchmark and be able to see what others are doing, and so that we can be able to learn from them.
Really interesting. Finally, Charles, last comment from you, 20 seconds if you wouldn't mind. I know it's hard. Headline thoughts, collaboration, how can we bring it about?
Yes, there is actually an opportunity in terms of having a united front in pushing the agenda of security. And this can happen easily by the formation or strengthening of the existing professional bodies within security and associations. For example, if you talk about security in general, you're having people who are offering guarding services, you have people offering response services, you have investigators, you have cybercrime, and all these services, professionalism is dispersed across the industry. So if each and every group can actually form a professional body or association, then like in Kenya, I must say that there's a security congress, which is actually spearheading or speaking on behalf of the association that are actually under that security congress. Now, with this congress having, been registered and recognized by the government and relevant state authorities and state departments, it will allow security, professionals to be able to have a single voice, to be able to speak in one voice, and to be able to address and collaborate with the state security in terms of achieving the objectives.
Charles, thank you very much indeed. Panelists, thank you so much. We could have gone on, and I tell you what, I would love to have found out more. I must thank all three of you for your insights. Very, very particularly interesting points made at the end. As Augustine says, the need for dialogue. As Purity says, learn from others. And what about the point from Charles about a security congress? Around the world, I think that would be has parallels. So thank you very much indeed, panelists. Thank you very much indeed for the audience as well for your questions. Really interesting for me to hear, and really, really appreciate it. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to switch from our discussion about workshops for a discussion about the Outstanding Security Performance Awards. And here I'm going to be, in a second, going to introduce you to colleagues. Just let me tell you a little bit, though, just a little bit about the awards first, because a special day for all of us here as we finally get to recognise the Outstanding Security Performance Awards and what they're about. And what I'd like to do, if I could, just before we start, is just say a few words about what's been happening internationally, because we've just announced another 4 countries. We're just about to go into Ireland, New Zealand, France, and Canada. And indeed, as we involve more countries, more eyes are going to be on Kenya. And all around the world, there are people waiting to hear who is going to be involved in winning the Kenyan Outstanding Security Performance Awards. And just for you to know, this will all be on the website tomorrow, and people will be looking. In fact, not only will a copy of this presentation and awards ceremony on the website tomorrow, can I also tell you what's going to be on there? A list of all the winners, but I'll come back to that in a minute. As you know, we're going to be announcing them in a second, who the winners are, but they will be getting their trophies and their certificates, if you're a finalist, at Security Expo East Africa in October the 5th to the 7th. So it's a chance for them to meet you to meet them, and to network. I would like to come to reveal the finalists and winners and let you know that we're very grateful to Security Expo East Africa, who are going to be hosting the awards physically and have been crucially involved in helping us to organise this. And also the Edith Cowan University, who sponsor all the trophies and certificates all over the world. So we're very grateful to them. I must say a very special thanks to the judges who gave up their time to mark the awards. To all of you, really, really, really appreciate it. You were very, very honourable. You followed our ethics policy. You took your time. So thank you to that. And also a very special thanks to all the associations in Kenya that support the OSPAs. And do you know what's important about this? Is that we, the organisers, do not choose the judges. The judges are chosen by the associations, and all the judges mark to an ethics policy. So it's a bit different. It's a bit different to other awards. And I'm very, very grateful to these associations because they want to be associated with excellence and they're prepared to commit to that. I owe them a big thanks. Now then, let's move on. I would like to welcome now Angela Kinyoa of Security Expo East Africa and Chris Otieno, who represents KEPSOC on the judging panel, who will be assisting me in announcing the finalists and revealing the 2021 winners. So Angela and Chris have been great supporters over a while now. And so we're delighted they've agreed to help us out. And don't forget, throughout the proceedings and afterwards, we'll be sharing all the details about the awards with our international followers. So people all around the world are about to find out who's won, and they will do using these hashtags. So if you'd like to do the same, can we please ask you to use these hashtags? And just to remind you that the winners' summaries of why they won, what the judges said about them, will be available on the Kenya website immediately afterwards. That's it at the bottom there, .ke-theospas.com. So without further ado, let's reveal who the winners are. And the first category we're going to be talking about is Outstanding Security Manager or Director. And this award recognizes those who, through security expertise, business acumen, or innovative leadership, have led with distinction. And at this point, I'm going to bring on board Angela and ask Angela to read out the name of the finalists. Angela, a warm welcome, and over to you if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you so much, Martin. I'll just briefly introduce myself and then jump to the category. So my name is Angela Kinyoa. I'm the Portfolio Director for Montgomery Events East Africa. We are the organizers of Secure Expo East Africa. As Martin has said, we are honored to partner with the OSPAs. And if you have any queries regarding the exhibition, please feel free to reach out to us. So for now, I will jump to what brought us here today. The finalists are Major Book, Jeff Hamilton Limited, Annette Kimitei, Senaka East Africa, Benjamin Moses, Secure Kenya Group Limited, James Nicole, Centum Investments PLC.
Thank you very much indeed, Angela. And I've got to say, well done to all the finalists, because even to be a finalist, you've got to have been marked by the judges to have been above a certain level. So not everybody who enters becomes a finalist. As people will know, they will not see their names up there. The judges have to say that you've done a really good job. So congratulations to all the finalists. But who is going to win the OSPA? And at this point, I'm going to welcome Chris and say, Chris, welcome. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, Chris, and then announce the winner to the world.
Thank you so much, Professor Martin Gill. Thank you so much, OSPAs. Thank you, everybody who's in attendance this evening. As mentioned by Martin, my name is Chris Otieno. I'm the Group Security, Safety and Environment Manager for UNGA Group Africa. I am a certified skill management professional, master's in risk and security management from Leicester University, and currently running a consultancy company known as SATA East Africa Limited, together a mentorship company known as The Gifted Mentorship Limited. I've got 21 years of continuous experience in security. Thank you so much, Angela, and thank you so much to all our finalists, Mejaboke, Annette Kimitei, Benjamin Moses, and James Nicole. It is my privilege at this very moment to announce who is our winner in Outstanding Security Manager or Director. And the winner of this category from the 4 finalists is Annette Kimitei, Seneca East Africa Limited. Thank you so much, Annette. Hard work done in there, hard work put in there. Congratulations from myself, from KEPSOC, from everybody who's participating in here. Back to you, Martin. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much indeed, and many, many congratulations, Annette. I mean, I've got to say, against tough opposition, you really did do a good job there, and you'll be able to pick up your trophy at the Security Expo in October the 5th, 6th, 7th. So we'll arrange all that in due course. And just to say to all the finalists, as Chris made the point there, everyone's done very well, and you will get a certificate, and we'll let you know about that in due course. Right, let's go on to the next category. And the next category is for Outstanding Security Training Initiative. And this OSPA recognises individuals or companies that operate a successful training scheme, which promotes outstanding performance and has produced identifiable results. Angela is going to read out those who the finalists are. And with that, Angela, over to you. Please tell us who the finalists are.
Thank you, Martin. So the finalists for this category are Private Security Training Academy, PSTA, and Victory Security Africa Group Training.
Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate that, Angela. Now, Chris, you get that duty again to let us know who is the winner, Chris, of the Outstanding Security Training Initiative.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Martin, and thank you, everyone. From the finalists, Private Security Training Academy and Victory Security Africa Group Training in this category of Outstanding Security Training Initiative, the winner is Private Security Training Academy, PSTA, commonly known as. Thank you very much. Congratulations to the hard work you put in there. Thank you. Back to you, Professor Martin.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris. Nicely read. I really appreciate you and Angela helping out with this. Well done, actually. Another good, another very, very competitive category. Really important as well, isn't it? Really important. As we've just, for those of you who've just been on the webinar, you'll have heard Purity talk about the importance of training. Now let's go to the Outstanding Contract Security Guarding Company category. And this category acknowledges those who are outstanding suppliers of manned security guarding, making a positive difference, recognizing the distinct importance of frontline leadership, motivating staff, managing resources, forging partnerships. These are just some of the qualities we're going to be looking for. And, well, at least 4 companies were seen to be good enough by the judges to be finalists. Let's find out from Angela who those 4 are first. Angela, over to you.
Thank you, Martin. So the finalists for the category are Blue Line Kennels Limited, Secure Kenya Group Limited, Seneca East Africa, SGA Security Kenya Limited.
Thank you very much indeed, Angela. Without further ado, Chris, let's go over to you. Can you announce the winner, please, Chris?
Thank you, Professor Martin. And thank you to all our finalists, Blue Line Kennels, Secure Kenya Group, Seneca East Africa Limited, and SGA Security Group, who competed so closely in the Outstanding Contract Security Guarding Company. And from these finalists, from the 4 finalists, our winner of this category is congratulations to our winner, Seneca East Africa Limited, for winning this category, Outstanding Contract Security Guarding Company. Congratulations once more, Seneca East Africa. Back to you, Martin.
Thank you very much. And congratulations. A company really going places, it seems, and doing well. And just to say once again that all the winners will be able to pick up their trophies at the show in October. And of course, the finalists will be able to get their certificates there too. Now let's move on to our second to last category, Outstanding Young Security Professional. For those of you who attended the webinar that we did just before this awards ceremony, well, no, we spoke about young professionals. Matthew Porcelli from the United States who's a big noise in the United States young professional security sector, asked a question. What's happening young security professionals in Kenya? And here we've got a category where there are at least 3 individuals who are seen to be outstanding because they've been finalists, shortlisted by the judges. And these are people who are seen to be making an impact and starting an outstanding security career. 3 people. Who are they? Angela, will you please let us know?
With pleasure. Thank you, Martin. So finalists for this category are 1, Javas Masharia from Safaricom PLC, Simon Jogona, Centum Investments PLC, Shahid Yakub, Motomoto Africa Limited.
Thank you very much indeed. 3 outstanding candidates. Chris, I was really interested to know who the winner is. Will you please announce the winner?
Gratitude, Martin. Thank you. Thank you for that. Under this category of outstanding young security professionals, our 3 finalists, Javas Masharia, Simon Juguna, Shahid Yakub, congratulations to the 3 of you for a job well done, and congratulations for taking up this career. And our winner from the 3 finalists is the winner is Simon Njuguna from Centum Investments PLC. Congratulations, Mr. Njuguna. Back to you, Professor Martin Gill.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris, and well done, Simon. A great achievements. And don't forget, you'll be getting your trophy in October. So really, really well done. And now we come to the very last category, outstanding female security professional. And this recognizes the fact that female security professionals at every level of organizations play an important role, largely an underappreciated one and certainly an underrepresented one. And so I know when we were putting this together, I remember Monica Kimo telling me how important it was that we offered this this category, because we need to recognize that out there, female security professionals are doing an enormously important job, even though it's too often under the radar. And so here we're looking at someone who has shown outstanding performance over an extended period of time and has had a substantial impact on defining and driving standards. And so I'm going to ask Angela to read out details of who the finalists are, because there are 4 finalists and this was extremely competitive. Angela, who are they?
Martin, I'm also very excited about this category, so on to it. So the finalists for the category are 1, Annette Kimitei, Senaka, East Africa, Cecily Mudhoni Gatiti, Kenya Coast Guard Service, Teresa Mutai, National Police Service, and Bridget Moreithi, Norwegian Refugee Council, NRC.
Thank you very much indeed, Angela. And just to remind people that the judges are chosen by the associations. All the judges mark independently. They all mark to an ethics policy. And so to win, you've really got to go some. In fact, even to be a finalist, we don't just have a certain number of finalists. All those who are judged by the judges to be of a sufficiently high outstanding standard become finalists. And so of all those that entered, 4 here have made that grade. 1 of them is going to win the OSPA. So I'm going to go back to Chris and say, Chris, you've got the pleasure of revealing who's the winner of this category.
Certainly, my pleasure, Martin. And like you say, these ladies in this country of ours have come together under WISE, and they're doing wonders. They perform very well in organizations, and they are equally as competitive as the men. It is now my privilege, as given by OSPAs, to announce the winner from the 4 finalists of this outstanding female security professional category. That is Annette Kimitei, Cecily Mudhoni, Teresa Mutai, and Bridget Moreithi. And the winner is the winner of this category, outstanding female security professional, is Annette Kimitei from Seneca, East Africa, East Africa Limited. Congratulations, Annette. Congratulations. Keep it up, Martin.
Thank
Back
you.
to you.
Well, thank you so much. I've got to tell you that Annette's won 2 OSPAs today. That is rare. It happens, but it's rare. So particularly grateful. But many congratulations to all the finalists. I think what we should do actually, before we close Precision, is let's congratulate all our finalist winners one more time. Just so many congratulations to all of them. And that concludes the presentation of the 2021 Kenya Outstanding Security Performance Awards. And we look forward to seeing you at Security Expo East Africa from the 5th to the 7th of October, where all the people who are finalists will be celebrated and the winners and finalists will be presented with their trophies and certificates at a physical awards. You'll actually get them at the awards. Angela's arranging that. So, and a particular thanks to our judges, to our supporting associations. Forgive me if I have a special thanks to Angela and Chris for helping me present the awards. I'll tell you this, they pronounced names much better than I could have done. Thank you to both of you for that. And indeed to Security Expo East Africa for partnering with us and doing such an excellent job. Don't forget, a reminder that all the winners' achievements can be found on the websites. And don't forget to promote on social media using the following hashtags. So finally, a big thank you from the OSPAs team. And it's not just me here in the background. I have Hannah Miller and our event manager around the world, Christine Brooks. We've also got Claire Tankard on the team as well. And Sarah Gray has been helping out recently. So all of those on our side, thank you very much indeed for all of you. And to the Security Expo team, Secure Expo team, for being part of today's event. We very much like to welcome you to Security Expo in the East Africa show in October. Until then, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.